making the headlines in the papers. With me in the studio, I have Ifi Onyegbule and Sheson Okwade. Lady and gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for coming to the studio to join us this morning. Well, let's head straight to the newspaper, and I start with the New Telegraph. Major headline here says, Tambuwal or Tom Ganduje, the long battle for survival. INEC holds supplementary election in 18 states. 3 recs to oversee Kano court holds Adamawa polls let Nigerians will prevail, U.S. tells INEC security agencies. We go to business news. Foreign direct investment slips by 28.3% in 2018. And the Punch major headline here says, INEC reacts as U.S. says voter intimidation in Nigeria's 2019 polls disappointing. And there's a quote here from the U.S. statement. We too were disappointed by the low voter turnout as well as credible reports of voter intimidation, vote buying, interference by security forces and violence in some locations. And INEC respond in our reckoning coupled with various reports released by local and international observers so far. The 2019 general elections were a success, but by no means perfect. To the Guardian now, U.S. cautions stakeholders on peaceful rerun polls. IGP deploys AIG CPs to ensure security in states. INEC vacates court orders on Bauchi Adamawa polls. Releases timeline for conclusion of Rivers State's exercise. Daily Sun, CCT trial. FG closes case against Onohe. CJN to file no case submission. The Nation, legal battles muscle flexing as the APC PDP gets set for polls. Akume, it's chance for APC to show strength. PDP threatens boycott in Bauchi. Election shifted in Adamawa, Long Husseini trade wars in Plateau. We are ready, says Kanu Rec. IG deploys 23 senior police officers. And finally, the Daily Times, we have Ononge, CCT chairman threatens a journalist with 28-year jail term. You don't have powers to jail journalists doing their jobs. NUJ replies. Suspended CJN makes no case submission as FG closes case. So let's go to the papers now. And one of the stories here that might interest you, lady and gentlemen, is the story where the transportation or the aviation is saying that over 5,000 unlicensed travel agencies operate in Nigeria, and that is a source of worry for the Civil Aviation Authority, and it's bemoaning the activities of these unregistered travel agencies. Let me start with you, Ifi.
There are so many things that are unregistered in Nigeria. And it still boils down to the fact that we don't have data. 5,000 you talked about, how did they get there? There's supposed to be an agency that regulates what they do in that sector. So my question is, how on earth did you allow that number to operate in a society such as ours, you know, unchecked like that? So it's such a big issue for me, if you ask me. And so many other things need to be looked at. If you look at civilized democracies, you can't even touch someone's hair if you're not registered. Yes. You can't cook for people to eat if you're not registered. Not to talk of, you know, organizations traveling like this. So I think government needs to do something about it.
Sheson.
Far alarming, really.
5,000, over 5,000. How did it get to this point?
Just to buttress what Ifi said, we have so many things that is really wrong with us here. And the so-called regulatory bodies of any sector does not do what they are supposed to do. We are not talking of 5, we're not talking of 10, we're talking of 5,000. It's really alarming. And it's shameful for them to come out to even disclose such thing to people and say, that means the person managing that kind of agency by now should find himself somewhere else.
In other climes, the person would have resigned.
Resigned, it shouldn't even be issue of resignation. We should have him behind the bar. How can you have you are committing the life of individuals. In this part of this world, we don't value lives. You see, if you travel to other part of the country, like she said, for you to even be a cook or you want to be a nanny or anything,
whatever
you have a registered, and somebody must validate
let me
it.
even share with you. Years ago, I went to Rio. I needed to get a SIM card, Veronica, and I applied for it. And they said to me, look, you're in our country. You have to bring your passport, whoever invited you. When they gave me all the lists and everything I needed to bring, I was just going to be there for 2 weeks. Why will I go through all of that? And that's how I didn't get the SIM. But you can walk into any Malam's shop and buy a SIM card here in Nigeria.
But again, there might be bottlenecks for these persons who run these businesses in terms of registration. You know how you put up all these things. Perhaps they don't have all the required qualification and they need to make money for their families.
If you don't have the right qualification to be in any sector, then you don't
Why
dabble
are you
into
there in
it.
the first place?
You don't go into
Let's
it.
even look at schools, for instance. Do you know how many unregistered schools that we have?
Definitely.
Look at the children who died in that building collapse. Who would tell me that that school is registered? Who registers such a school?
So how do we address this?
The fact remains on my own position that the government should stand. You see, when you have individuals who are not performing to the letter of what they are expected to do, kick them out. You don't need to be partisan about it. You don't need to show empathy that this person, if he's not doing the right thing, kick him out and get the right person to do it. You cannot be exchanging the life of people as if they are animals. We need to value life, and it cuts across, not only in aviation, in every sector, the schools and everywhere. If people are not doing it right, whatever affiliation you have with the people in government, kick such people out and let's have the right thing at the right place.
Kicking people out, you know how challenging it's going
to be.
Are
you telling me? I was going there. How possible is it going to be? Look at the house that was marked for demolition. But people went back, collected some money as reported, and that one had to pass.
And here we have over 5,000.
5,000. That's what we're talking about. These people will know people.
The fact remains that you bribe your way out and the next minute somebody is just raising an alarm. You must raise alarm if things are... This one that they are just bringing up.
But then we need to move beyond raising alarm. We need to start placing value where it's necessary, especially in lives.
That's it. So, it's supposed to be, you should self-censor yourself. That's the truth. What is the procedure? I was trying to open an account at some point for an NGO that I set up years ago, and they've given me exactly what. It's not that I can walk up to my bank manager to say, look, I've banked with you for years, you can give me this waiver. But they said to me, you need to get this document, you need to get this, you need to get that. And because of who I am, I have to do that. You won't say because you know one person, you now go through a shortcut.
That is an area.
We have to do the
individual
right thing.
So it has to start with a change of mindset.
With you first.
So let's move quickly to the Daily Sun. And one of the stories here says, I'll correct lapses of my first tenure. That's the president speaking there. You know, the president met with some journalists and he said that you guys are laughing. He said he was going to correct the lapses. What is funny, Ify?
I'll laugh over and over when I hear things like that, because I would think that for the man I stuck my neck out for in 2015, people were asking me. In fact, there's a lady who works, I think, in the vice president's office. She used to call me Buhari's wife at that time because I was all out there. I saw him as the man who would come knock everybody into shape. But with what happened in the last dispensation, I wondered, was it because of ill health? But I'm watching to see what's going to happen this time, since he says he's going to correct. Now he knows there were lapses in the last administration. How he's going to correct these lapses is what I'm sitting and I'm watching, and I'll still continue to
Where would you want him to correct these lapses? Perhaps we could set agenda because the world is watching.
Yeah, we need him to work in the power sector. We need, everybody need light to make things work. If you want your economy to grow, you need to make available power for people. You discover that several guys that should contribute to the economy are not even having power supply to do several things. People are no longer learning, you know, artisans that are supposed to be making creative works does not have power to work. For me, I take power as a priority. He promised that in 2015, and just little of it we are seeing. He has worked with the Genco. We now have over 7,000 megawatts. The TCN2 are actually working, but we need to come down to the distribution network and make people get value for it. As soon as you get that, you get those artisans who are supposed to contribute to the economy, riding Okada, doing their work, and with that we can move forward. For me, power is of high essence. That will contribute immensely to the growth of our economy.
All right, Sheson Kwade, if you uniquely, thank you for your contribution on
you
Newspaper Review this morning.